exactly are soft skills? Why are these called soft skills? And how did we start from wherever they started from? So this is a bit of a long text, but basically started in like the 1970s when started in the army, when they wanted to improve the interpersonal relationships with people instead of just, they did some research and found out that there was not that, like, people would just rather come into the army, use all the guns and heavy machinery, and not really bond with each other. Not necessarily bond because they go to work together and form a bond from there. But they usually have all these. They usually had all these interesting fights, and there was not really that training on working together and being by your brother's arms. It was just all macho and very, very rogue. So this is kind of where it started from, and this is how we started to like build upon. And people started to, okay, cool, we need this, we need to be able to have the soft skills. Oh, sorry. Yes, so they are known as people skills or core skills, which is interesting because why core skills? Like, why are the hard skills not core skills? But anyway, these are known as people skills or behavioral skills, interpersonal relationship skills that are non-technical and non-industry specific, which is good because they are very transferable. So I think why they call them core skills is because, first of all, you don't need any technical training. So that's the difference between a soft skill and a hard skill, is that a hard skill, you kind of need technical training. If you wanted to pick up Python, you'd go to, I don't know, you probably study on YouTube, or you probably go to uni like you guys are in, or you would go to a programming school. You kind of need a formal education for most of the hard skills, if not all of them. Like if you wanted to become a doctor, or if you wanted to study engineering, you need to go through maths and kind of have a very good foundation and make sure that you're learning something concrete. But the thing about soft skills is that you don't need any technical training. You just, pick it up as you go. You learn from doing it. It's not something where, okay, cool. It's not something where you have to be at this technical school or have to be at this sport. It's something that everyone can and should learn. So yeah, non-technical, non-industry specific. It's not specific to software engineering. It's not specific to any other career path or industry. It's cuts across everywhere and everything, like we saw that I started from the military. It enables individuals to work effectively in groups and organizations. Yeah, this is like the backbone of any organization, right? It's not, sorry. Yeah, early morning. It's not pronounced as much as hard skills. Like if you were going to apply for a job as a software engineer, they wouldn't put, oh, be able to communicate or have patience while writing code. They wouldn't put that, right? But the soft skills are what drives all these teams effectively. Is what allows individuals to work in groups and make sure that there's effective production. They are driven, make sure that they are working together and they produce the right things. So yeah, soft skills are the ones that move individuals or enable individuals to work effectively in groups. So yes. Why are they important? Well, first of all, your technical skills are never enough. You can know all the technical skills in the world. I'll keep using software engineering as a reference because that's what we're familiar with. Your technical skills will never be enough because, like, you can build stuff in isolation, but at some point you have to relate with people if you are going to get it out there. You have to reach out to people. You have to know people. At some point in your career, at some point in your life, you need to communicate with people. You need to make sure that you're effectively working in a group, whether you like it or not. So just having those technical skills will never be enough. It is a crucial metric for career success. Like how well you treat others, how well you're able to work with others is one thing that they would always put in job applications is be able to work in a team, because they know that soft skills encompasses all of that. So yes, it will, it's a huge metric for your success. It ensures that, okay, you move on, and at least you can, move up the ladder scale. A good example is Project Oxygen by Google. Don't know if any of us are familiar. I started in like 2009, and this is when Google is reaching its almost teenage years, I think. They found out that there was a huge divide between managers and software engineers. So, managers didn't like software engineers, engineers didn't like managers. So the whole project manager engineering thing didn't start today. It's always been a thing. And Google decided to look into this, and I think they had like an 8-point metric system that they wanted the managers to learn about. And if you look at it, I think everyone should take a look. Just Google Project Oxygen by Google. You see that being technically sound is the last bit, is the number 8. The 1 to 7 is all about having soft skills. It's all about, being able to communicate, being able to mentor, being able to have empathy for the software engineer. So like all of these, like all of those things, like are important, because you can see that if you want an organization to like succeed, if you want to be in an organization that succeeds, you need to be able to work effectively with groups. And to be able to work effectively with groups, you need soft skills. So this is why soft skills, I believe, are important. Cool. Great. I will go over some examples and use cases. I might spend time on a couple of them because I have, some personal experience with some of them. And the first is communication. So, thing about communication is like the major thing in any industry you're in. It's like one thing that you would always keep doing regardless of where you are. And for example, in uni, you communicate, right? When you write exams, you're communicating to your lecturer, telling him how much you've learned. When you do a presentation or write a lab report, for instance, you're communicating what you know about the lab reports. But then it just, doesn't stop at just telling people what you know or explaining people what you explain to people what you understand. There's also listening, which is really important, because as you go in your career, you want to be with the smartest people. And the thing about the smartest people is they listen really well, right? I remember when I first joined Bloomberg, I would be in meetings, and when they're talking to me, I'll keep going, oh, what does that mean? Or like, oh, what did you say? Oh, could you explain better? And the really smart people, the people, that I looked up to at that time, anytime, I still look up to them, anytime they said anything to them, they would get it in one bit. And I found out is that they really had good listening skills. Like you could say something and they will get it, regardless of how complex it is. You say something, they will think about it in a second or two. I'll come to that as well. And they would be able to reply and say, okay, this is what I think you should do. So listening is a very, very huge part of communication that I think a lot of people, don't focus on, but should focus on, because it's really important. And it helps, reduce engineering time. You look good, you look smart in the process. The next is writing. And this one is, has been very, very, has a lot of good PR these days, and I think it's really good. I think writing is really, really good, because even as software engineers, you get to write PRs, you get to write design documents. So understanding how to write, understanding how to explain yourself is really, really good. And a practice for writing, especially as uni students, is exams. Explaining what you've read, explaining what the lecturer has taught you. So I'm guessing you guys get a lot of practice on that. Then speaking is, is basic, as long as you can speak, you should, learn how to speak properly. You should, whatever language you're speaking, you should learn how to communicate your ideas. It's always helpful, because especially in interviews, because you want to, speak your ideas. And if you want to go on the part where you're doing presentations, or like this, you have a presentation, you want to ensure that you're speaking properly and you know how to speak well. And then reading, which is very, sorry, there's somebody not muted. And then reading, which is really important as software engineer, because you'll be going through documentation. I think one of the biggest things we do is learn constantly, continuously. one of our technical skills is, the skills to learn or the ability to learn. But you'd be reading a lot. So you want to be able to read, understand, assimilate. So all of this is not that communication, but I feel like they are the basic. They are like the entry points. If you check anywhere online and you see soft skills, communication is like the first thing you might encounter, because you want to, this is the entry point to working with people. In fact, in companies that have money, they always do courses on communication styles so that they can understand each person's communication style and communicate effectively, because communication is at the forefront of soft skills. So if you're looking into building your soft skills, definitely pick up, communication. Listening, you can listen to podcasts, writing, if you want to get better at, writing technical stuff, just do technical writing. When you build something, you want to write about it, regardless of how small it is, it's fine. If you build a simple calculator app, write about it, talk about what you learned, write about what you learned, and write about how you built it, write about the technology you used. It just helps you understand more stuff. It helps you understand what you're writing. And it's good, post it, share it on social media, let people know. Speaking, you want to get better at speaking. You want to ensure that you're using the right words. Like the words you use, you want to make sure that you understand them, because you don't want to say something and people be like, what's that? Anyway. So yeah, speaking, you want to get better at speaking. And then reading, not to cram or, for exam, but just reading in general. Make sure that you're able to read line by line, understand what, the sentences say. So I think the rest I will just quickly go over. So problem solving. Earlier, I mentioned an example where people would listen about something, about a problem, and assimilate it in record time and just give you an answer. That's problem solving. I know how problem solving might sound like a technical skill in our domain, which is software engineering, because it is synonymous with, right, like solving problems is what we're supposed to do as software engineers. But no, you can take people to learn Python, but you can't teach them how to solve problems with Python. So my own school of thought is problem solving is a soft skill. And it's not to a specific domain. It's not to a specific software engineering domain. You can solve problems in dentistry. You can solve problems in law. You can solve problems in any domain in engineering. All right. So you want to build on that. You want to make sure that, and a good way to do this is just puzzles or games, like I already do. You want to be able to just be in a situation where you're thinking of you want to be in a situation where there's a problem and you're thinking of a solution and you're able to come up with a solution. You want to be able to, there's something called computational thinking, where you break down the problem into smaller bits and you use existing algorithms or existing solutions to solve those bits and then put them back together and then have a very good solution at the end. So it's something that you can always just keep, just being in a problem and just thinking, oh, how can I fix this? How can I fix this? Kind of gives you that idea about how to solve a problem. The next is emotional intelligence. Now, because of the way the world works, when you work with people, especially today, where you have to be considerate of other people, you need to understand emotional intelligence. You need to make sure that you are being in the right spot, because depending on where you go in your career, you work with different people from different backgrounds. This person doesn't understand that if you say this in Nigeria, it's a joke, but if you say this in, let's say, the United States, it's very offensive. So you need to understand people. You need to have that emotional intelligence to make sure that, okay, I'm talking to this person, I can't say this, I can't be like this. It kind of just gives you the ability to work with people. So work on your emotional intelligence skills. You can't just be a grumpy, can I use the word grumpy? Yeah, you can't just be a grumpy software engineer, chilling, doing his work alone and not being able to connect with people. It is not a good sight, I should say. One thing that a lot of companies look out for when you're interviewing is communication, but then within that communication is also emotional intelligence, because they want to see how you respond to, when you're being communicated to, you don't see how you respond. So if, they're telling you to do something in the interview and you just grumpily do it and just start mumbling to yourself, it doesn't look good on you. So Yes, emotional intelligence and communication kind of it kind of buttresses your communication. Self-awareness. As a software engineer, you need to be self-aware. You need to know when you're doing rubbish. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, you need to know when you're doing rubbish. You need to understand what spots you're in. You need to be able to say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. Just give yourself that idea of, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm viewed, right? You can definitely ask people for feedback, but you also want to be self-aware. Please, it's very, very important. I can't stress that enough. Teamwork. So yeah, all of this would definitely help your teamwork or team working skills, but teamwork is super important. You want to be able to work in a team. How you can build on that is, you do projects in school. So when it's time for project, don't just like sit back and say, oh no, the others will do the rest. Even if you're not going to do a bulk of it, be around these people and say, okay, this is what I think. Being able to like say your thoughts with the team, being able to share your ideas, being able to, talk around with the team is super important. Time management. Time management is, I feel everybody on earth has a time management, skill or sometimes problem. But the point about time management is knowing how to prioritize. Your plate will always be full. I don't think there will ever be a time where you don't have in your head, where you don't have a bunch of things to do. But the idea is always to prioritize. That is how you manage your time. So learning how to prioritize and, saying, okay, this is more important than this. So I will do this now and I will leave this for later. So understanding that, understanding yourself, understanding your personality and how you work, and using that to manage your time and getting stuff done in the limited time that we all have. Accountability. When something goes wrong, you should learn to take responsibility and say, okay, I did this. I'm taking these steps to fix it. And always own up to anything, good or bad. You should just be accountable and make sure that people, anytime people needed something, they know that, okay, X person is accountable for this, and they would always stand up. They would always be there if anything goes wrong. Adaptability. One thing that is constant in software engineering is change. If you write a bunch of code, you would find that out very quickly. But in real life too, one thing that is very constant is change. So you want to be able to, change domains easily. You want to be able, not domains, sorry. You want to be able to adapt to situations easily. You want to be able to, okay, if this goes wrong, how do I? And in unprecedented cases, you don't have to think. I mean, it's good if you have some good foreshadowing, but if things go wrong at this moment, you want to be able to, I was having a conversation with somebody at work, and she was saying, if this project I'm working on gets canceled, what would I do? On to the next, like, be able to like switch context easily, even though it's not the best, but it's good to just be very adaptable in situations. I put self-awareness twice. That's a mistake on my part. Patience. I feel like if you write code a lot, you learn to be patient. But yeah, just chill. Don't be in a hurry when you're not meant to be in a hurry. It's good to be patient with yourself and other people. These things take time. Beautiful things take time. So if you're trying to work on your skills, your technical skills, your soft skills, or it's time. Practice makes perfect. But from when you get to practice to perfect, it's time. So, and then lastly, the one I will talk about is being open-minded. You want to have an open mind. Be open to feedback. Be open to suggestions. Don't just always think your way is the right way. It most of the time isn't. So definitely have an open mind and be willing to like hear other people's suggestions. Yeah. I think that it's the end of my presentation. Sorry I didn't keep the 40 minutes, but and yeah, thank you. Please reach out if you have any questions. Not always, but I'm available on LinkedIn if you need to chat. Thank you, Ismail.
All right. Thank you very much, Ifeoluwa. Thank you very, very much for that short but insightful class. I'm sure we all learned a lot from that. So let me quickly move on to a few of the Q&A questions that we've been given. So um, the link is still live, so you can still please drop some of the questions if you have any more questions. But Mr. Ifeoluwa, the first question here is, what do I do if I have an idea that I know is the best way to what do I do if I have an idea if I that I know is the best way to go about what I'm working on, but the team keeps telling me to change it?
Right, thanks. You have an idea, you know, that's a lot of knowing. You know that it is the best, and your team keeps saying you should do something else. Well, you're not the only one in the team. So if the team isn't convinced about your idea, it's teamwork. You guys are a team. So if the team decides, like if everybody in the team sees your work and says, oh, I think we should go this way, or if there's like a democracy, or if there's a way your team makes decisions, maybe your team lead says, no, we're going this way. I'm sorry, if as long as it's not your own like personal like organization, as long as you don't have the majority say, you have to go with what the team says. If it comes back to bite the team, again, it's the team, not you now. It's the team. It's always the team. If it comes back again to bite the team, then the team will face it together. All of you will face it together. But if the team comes together and agrees and says, oh, we're not going with your idea, it's a team decision. So I would say you go with the team, or you decide you can then decide what you want to do at that point. If you want to maybe leave the team up, I'm not giving any advice, but if the team says let's go this way and you decide to go this other way, you're opposing the team, so you're not being valuable to the team at that point. So you want to, and you can also challenge their own decisions and be like, why? If it doesn't make sense to you, you can decide what you want to do at that point. But working in a team, the team moves together. The team is a unit, so you want to have a united front. So if you're working in a team, it's always a good idea to be on the same page with a team. In most cases.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So from the second question from Tupac, apparently, um, the question is problem solving a soft skill or what you develop over time? If you agree to the latter, how do you build it? For example, you said computational thinking. So how do you build that? Let me rephrase that question a bit. The person is asking that, is problem solving a soft skill? You said problem solving is a soft skill, and is challenging that. Is it a soft skill or is it something you develop proficiency in over time? And if you agree that it's something you can develop proficiency in, how do you build that?
Well, I mean, first of all, any skill, like soft or hard, requires proficiency over time. If I don't know if you agree, like you can't just let's pick a technical skill. Let's pick programming. You can't just, even if you have to, not in most cases, pick up a course for it. I don't use my coding skills. Sorry, nice. Sorry. Even if you have to like go to a school or do a course for programming, it still needs time, right? That's the thing about skills. You need time. You start off here, and to get here is time and practice, right? Those are the two things you need. So, and like I said, when I was presenting, some people take problem solving to be a hard skill, but I think it's a soft skill because it applies in multiple domains. That's why I'm saying it's a soft skill, because you solve problems regardless of where you are, and not just in a software engineering domain. So how do you build your problem solving skills over time? Solve problems. And when I say solve problems, I don't mean go and fix the electricity problem in Nigeria. No. Like I said, I just poke around puzzles sometimes. I just do puzzles. Like, be in a situation where there's a game I play. It's called Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. There's a lot of puzzles in Legend of Zelda. You're in a situation where you are locked and you need to get out. So you're thinking, oh, how do I fix this? How do I come together to do this? If you Google computational thinking, I can find a link. There's a way that you can break problems into bits and use an algorithm, which is just a step-by-step way to fix a problem and come around to a solution. But it's practice. You want to be in situations where you have a problem in front of you and you want to fix that problem. Simple. It doesn't have to be. I had this friend where we were studying algorithms in uni, like year 3. And the first time we came around algorithms, my lecturer, very funny guy, decided to use rice, like cooking rice, as an example in class. Like, oh, when you're cooking rice, what's your algorithm? Find rice, wash the rice, find pots, put water in pots, boil the pot, put rice inside, and boil the water, put rice inside water, leave for blah blah blah. And this my friend started using that. He's a very good problem solver now. So yeah, figures. Started using that in most of his everyday life. He would, if he wanted to do something, he wanted to say, oh, I don't know what to wear to class. He would say, okay, look into wardrobe, find a bunch of clothes. Like, you want to be in scenarios where there's an end goal and you're stuck. You want to be able to break down that problem and say, like, I don't know, prepare for your exams. This is a problem for most people. I don't know why. But like, you want to say, okay, what courses do I need to read? When do I need to read this? You want to break that thing down and say, okay, this is how to go about it. So from the little things, you can now take that into larger things, such that if you wanted to reverse a linked list, you can say, okay, first thing I need to do is, I don't know, create a linked list and then reverse it. That's actually not a very good description for reversing a linked list. I'm sorry. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We still have a few more questions. Let's just take 2 more. Adeyeye Emmanuel wants to know, you have talked about ways of improving your communication skills. You have talked about communication skills and mentioned soft skills on it. How do you improve your speaking skills? You have talked about ways of improving your communication skills and mentioned soft skills on it. How do you improve your speaking skills?
Speaking. Well, I see that in 2 parts. You want to be able to, you want to be fluent in the language I don't know you, so I don't know. You want to first of all be fluent in the language you're speaking. A good way to be fluent in the language you're speaking is to read books in that language, learn about it. And then you want to be able to speak to a bunch of people and not be scared or not be shy. Well, for the first one, I know read books. For the second one, I think, to be fair, it's practice. Start with a bunch of friends and then gravitate that to a bunch of other people. I'll give an example of myself. When I started at the start of Pod We Move, and every morning I had to give, very, very tiring or something. I had to give a presentation to the CTO and talk about, what the company does, like the business aspect of the company, something that doesn't concern me because I was working there, but doesn't concern my work, not directly. And I'd have to talk about this. He would ask me questions about this, and at first it was very, very challenging. But as I got to know him as a person, it became easy to just talk and be fluent with him. So you want to start with people that you understand, people that you know. You want to just be speaking about, maybe in your hostel or with a group of friends. Do something and say, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Then you want to start with a bit of people that you don't know. A small group, right? If you have stage fright, this is what I'm saying in my experience. I don't know if it works for other people. And then you want to start branching out and, going out of your comfort zone to speak and say, okay, how do I, reach a larger audience or people that don't know me? So I'm taking the answer to this question in 2 parts. The first one is you want to get better at speaking. That is, being fluent in the language you speak. And by that, you should read books and, just study literature. You can even listen to music. Anything that has the language you're speaking, you want to be fluent in that. And you also want to work on your public speaking, is what I imagine. So you want to, and you can take watch a YouTube video on public speaking. They give a bunch of advice for that. But is that you want to gradually, with practice and time, you want to gradually start speaking to people and gain that skill over time. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. And also to Adeyeye Emmanuel, like I said at the beginning of this class, much of you were here then. This is it's an entire series of soft skills training we will be doing. So sometime later during one of the upcoming classes, we will be treating communication as a topic on its own. So you can keep in tune for that to improve way, so you can learn how to improve your communication skills. So Obina put a question in the chat. Doesn't really pertain to soft skills, but it's actually quite up your alley, Ifeoluwa. He said, "How do I use my coding skills to solve real world problems? How do
How
I
do
use
you
my coding skills to solve
use
real world
skills?
problems?"
Well, I'm from the question. I'm assuming you already have coding skills, so congratulations. Solve real world problems. Find real world problems. And like I said, real world problems doesn't have to be fixing the electricity. The real world problem I solved yesterday is an analyst couldn't find the security they were looking for, and I fixed it. And now they can find the security they are looking for. They're happy. They can go home happy. They can earn money. In my mind, I have solved the real world problem. If you're looking for a major, maybe financial problem to fix, or a major, infrastructure problem that you want to fix with your coding skills, find the problem and see how programming can fix that problem. I don't know if it gets much more complex than that. I'm trying to think. No, I really like. I think that's it. You find the problem and you see how your coding or programming can apply to it, and you think it out. And if it works, it works. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Once again, Odena, I believe that's how pronounced the name. Please, Obina, please put your question in the group chat. We won't be unmuting anyone. So please just put the question in the group chat so you can drop your hands. Okay, all right. So before we proceed, like I said earlier, we will be having a short quiz, just 4 questions that we'll be asking during the short quiz. It's all questions that were treated during the class, just to make sure we were all paying attention. So you can all join the quiz. I'm going to put the code in the description right now. You can all join the quiz using the code I'm putting in the description right now. While we wait for enough people to join the quiz so we can start, I will ask you one more question, if you will. There are still about 3 questions we've not taken yet. But while we wait for more people to join that, let's just take one more question. For the final question of the day, um, fellow, someone wants to know what's the best way to build a team, by friendship or by looking for people with expertise? By building a team around your friends and people you know, or by looking for people with expertise?
Well, that's an interesting question. So my idea is you want to build a team that does something, right? You want to build a team of people that have an expertise in something, and you have some people around you that might have expertise in this, and you're considering if you should get more people that are more proficient, and instead of getting people that you know that you already have a relationship with. Interesting. Friendship or by expertise? Well, it depends on what you want to do. It depends on you. If the people around you are experienced enough and they fit the bill for the expertise you're looking for, by all means, since you already have a relationship with them, it will be plug and play, I believe. Uh, if you have a good relationship with them, it should even make your work easier because you already know that, okay, you already know how this person thinks, you already know their communication styles and all of that. So if they fit the bill of your expertise, if is that okay, this person actually knows what I want them to do. Now, there's the other case where they don't actually know and you just want to be a friend to them and say, okay, let me help out and give this person this role because he's my friend. And then as the person, works in this place, he can maybe learn. Well, that's dependent on you again as well, if you want to do that. But just know that it would or it might bring you down. My final say on the issue is optimize for what you're looking for. If you're looking for a friend, definitely bring the friend on board. If you're your friends on board, if you're looking for people that will do the job and have this expertise, bring people that will do the job and have this expertise. You can always build. It's a professional relationship, I believe. You can always build a professional relationship with them. It doesn't have to be. But then, if your friends fit both bill, if they have a, if you have a friend that is also an expert in what you're looking for, definitely hire them. But I think what you're looking for is that when you're hiring somebody with the expertise that isn't your friend, you probably want them to have a behavior you're comfortable with, and that's fine. Companies do this all the time. They do something called a behavioral interview to ensure that you are on the same behavioral thinking as the company, or you are culturally fit for the company. So if you're not going to hire your friend and you want to hire somebody externally with the same expertise, you want to make sure that they are a cultural fit to your team. I don't know if that answers your question.
All right, thank you very much, Ifeoluwa. So, 20 people have joined this little quiz for now. So, let's start that quiz.
Yes.
Like I said, there are just 4 questions. Fastest fingers win. And the questions are all based on things we've learned in the class today. So, let me share my screen before I do that.
Am I
So, we
free
can all
to
see
head
that.
out? Hello?
Um, sorry, I didn't get that.
Am I free to head out? Like leave?
Oh, yes, you can. Thank you very, very much for joining us today, follower. Please,
Sure.
can we give a round of applause? You can use the reactions point. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you. See you. Have a great one.
Okay. All right. So I am starting the quiz now. Project Unity. Interesting. Let me get my screen. I wish we were paying attention. Huh?
Hello,
Hello.
please, I'm lost because I was attending to someone. Please, where are we?
Um, I'm sorry, Mr. Obina. Please use the chat box. Chat box.
Okay,
We're
sir.
currently having a quiz session.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, so on to the final question. Um, okay, and that's that. So let's go to our leaderboard and see our winners. So our winner in third position was Daniel. Um, Daniel, can you signify yourself? Can you identify yourself? And
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
yes, congratulations, Daniel. Yes,
Hello,
I
can
can
you
hear
hear me?
you.
This is Daniel. Thank you
Yes,
so
we
much.
can hear you, Daniel.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. So
Thank you so
second
much.
was Ayobami, and first with the fastest fingers and all four questions gotten correctly is Mariam. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. Um, Mariam. I guess that's the pronunciation. All right.
Yeah,
So
it's Mariam.
oh, Mariam, thank you very much. All right. So thank you all very much for joining us today. Like I said at the beginning of the class, this is going to be a weekly thing. Today was just an introductory class, and next week Saturday we'll be having two speakers rather than one, and it's same time every Saturday by 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. moving forward. 1 hour for each speaker, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. moving forward. So I see some of you mentioned that you're not currently on the WhatsApp group chat. Please check your emails if you are not on the WhatsApp group chat. They are currently the link has been sent to everybody's email, so you can check for that. Um, the sender was Beatix, so you can just search for that in case your inbox is crowded. And I will see you all next week Saturday. Thank you all very much.